All right, guys. So, a continuation of this whole Black Lives Matter story because the rabbit hole just kind of gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay, because um BLM apparently sent some legal threats to the New York activists who called for an audit of the co-founders' $3.2 million home buying spree. Okay, so if you guys remember, obviously, big news. The founder of BLM went on his buying spree of very expensive and nice houses. Okay, in which I don't really have a problem with if there was more transparency, and that's the whole point of this video, which is that transparency is needed. But she bought these properties and made news because everybody was like, where is she getting this money from? Now, she does have a book. She does have a deal with Warner Brothers. Okay, but the reason why I think people are so sketched out is because apparently BLM received $90 million last year. Okay, $90 million. And they have not been transparent about how that money is being spent. And normally, again, I really wouldn't be saying anything, but it's the fact that the chapters of BLM have all come together and released a formal statement asking for accountability, asking like, where's the money going? Why are you not supporting the chapters? And if you guys know anything about BLM, they're all about collectivism. Okay, they're all about socialism, right? Except when it comes to buying your family houses, I guess.
A critique, though, from the left that would say, if you are a trained Marxist, if we're talking about a certain kind of radical politic, that extravagant homes of any sort or multiple properties of any sort is itself contradictory to the ideology that you hold. And so it's not about having money per se, but that it's about or about property per se, but it's about there being a potential contradiction between your expressed politics and your lived practice.
Sure. And I think that is a critique that is wanting. And I say that because the way that I live my life is in direct support to Black people, including my Black family members, first and foremost. And for so many Black folks who are able to invest in themselves and their community, they choose to invest in their family. And that's what I've chosen to do. I have a child, I have a brother that has severe mental illness that I take care of. I support my mother, and I support many other family members of mine. And so I see my money as not my own. I see it as my family's money as well.
Sounds like she's transformed into a capitalist, right? To a certain extent. And like I said, guys, I don't have any problems with how she get her money. This wouldn't be a thing if there just was more transparency. That's all it is. Just transparency. Nobody is hating on her. Nobody is trying to bring her down. Nobody's trying to do any of that. She can do what she want to do. We just want transparency. So when they're taking all this money in and then there's reports that it's not being shared with the chapters, and then you have a leader of a chapter come out and say, hey, we want an investigation into this, I think there are legitimate questions that need to be asked. And it really concerns me that social media feels the need to censor this story, because how else are you going to hold an organization accountable for doing what they say they're going to do unless you can have scrutiny? Because when you censor a story like this, you're basically telling people you can't scrutinize this organization, or that you can't ask where the money's going. And you're giving them free reign to do whatever they want. It's the same thing with politics. If you can't criticize a politician, then you're giving them free reign to do what you want. The role of the media is to criticize. That's the whole role of the media. Okay, so I'm hoping that this video doesn't get censored because I'm talking about this, but this is important. Okay, because I think it's fair for us to demand some accountability and some transparency from this group, because they've taken in a lot of money that can help the Black community. And I actually want to see the money actually be used for something useful, even if I don't agree with 100%. And I don't have any problems with her making money. Okay, I don't. But I just want the money to be used correctly. And when there's reports that the money's not being used correctly, yeah, that's an issue. But otherwise, if you can organize the money and you can make things happen and you can do with the money that you say you're going to do with it and improve the community, you deserve to get paid millions. You deserve to get rich off of that. I'm a capitalist, okay? Make no mistake about it. I don't care how people get their paper. Get your paper. We just want some transparency. So the National Black Lives Matter organization sent legal threats to prominent BLM activists for using the Black Lives Matter name, according to both parties. BLM Global Network Foundation, co-founded by Patrisse Cullors, sent cease and desist letters to BLM Greater New York leader Hank Newsom, claiming Newsom's group is illegally using a Black Lives Matter name. According to the Daily Caller News Foundation, Newsom earlier this week called for an independent investigation into Cullors' finances after she reportedly spent millions on new properties. BLM Greater New York is unaffiliated with the National BLM Group and is illegally operating under the BLM name, the foundation argued in its letter to Newsom. Newsom, quote, is not and has never been a part of the official Black Lives Matter organization, but continues to use BLM's name even after sending him multiple cease and desist letters. Therefore, any mention of him as a leader is not factual. An outside spokesman for the BLM Global Network Foundation said, only BLM chapters who adhere to BLM principles and code of ethics are permitted to use the BLM name. All right, I'm going to get back to that in a minute. The National BLM Group does not have legal rights over the Black Lives Matter name. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office rejected 6 applications from the group to trademark the phrase. All right, so I looked into this pretty deeply. Okay, and Black Lives Matter's argument here is that this guy, Hank Newsom, who's supposed to be the leader of Black Lives Matter Greater New York, who's asking for accountability, they're telling him to shut up. They're sending him cease and desist letters telling him that he can't use a name that they don't even own, right? They don't even have a trademark for that name, okay? They don't even have a trademark for it. And guys, I looked up the Black Lives Matter Greater New York website. It's actually super legit. It is super duper legit. They have a lot of pictures of them doing like, you know, community stuff or protesting or doing whatever, right? It's super legit. It's actually an organized movement. It's probably more organized than an actual national chapter. Okay? So I'm pretty sure they're not just operating as Black Lives Matter Greater New York and they have that legitimate of an operation without actually having some prior connection to the national chapter. Like, I'm pretty sure they've been connected before. And since BLM doesn't actually own the name, right, they can't tell them that they can't use that name, right? Because you didn't have a problem with it before. You only had a problem with it once they called y'all out. They said, oh, no, you don't abide by our rules and principles, which is arbitrary. Right? AKA, don't call us out on our BS. If you call us out on our BS, then you're not officially a part of the Black Lives Matter Global Network. Take Black Lives Matter out of your name. They don't even own it. Again, a lot of capitalist tendencies here from an organization that claims to be anti-capitalist. And see, this is why when people try to say, well, you got to separate the movement from the group. I'm like, no, there is no separation. Because the group has claimed ownership over the movement. That's what they've done. So that's why people go on the website and they read things on the website. That's why they get certain impressions about the movement as a whole. Because BLM doing this, they're showing that no. We want to own anything having to do with Black Lives Matter. We think that we have the legal rights to that name. So if you're using that name as a part of your movement, then it has to be connected to the organization. That's how trademarks work, right? Now, obviously, they don't have this trademark. Okay, they don't. But they're trying to enforce power on it. Okay? And they're trying to connect themselves with the movement. So that's why I try to tell people when it comes to this movement, I'm like, y'all need to change the name. You just got to change the name. That's the first place it starts. You got to change the name. Because this name, Black Lives Matter, has been tainted. Okay, it's been tainted by all types of stuff. Because everybody that's a part of the movement or that resonates with the movement, they're not bad people. They're not socialists. They're not people that want to take men out of household, obviously. Okay? But the fact that they want to go with that name and they want that name so bad, even though it's really a terrible name, it really is serving the whole movement and the purpose of it negatively. It really is. So, and it doesn't make it any better when you have yet another mother or parent or significant other of somebody that has been tragically shot and killed due to police violence coming out and ripping BLM, the organization, right, and people that's associated with the movement for a lack of transparency in funds, okay? And basically making money and grifting off of the deaths of primarily dead black men. Obviously, Breonna Taylor is a woman, but I'm just saying. Here's another one. Y'all remember, it was Tamir Rice's mom, right? Then you had Mike Brown's folks out in Ferguson, okay? Then you got Breonna Taylor's mom, right? Let's take a look at what she has to say. Tamika Palmer, the mother of Breonna Taylor, criticized the Louisville chapter of Black Lives Matter and other activists who have invoked her daughter's name in efforts to rally change. In a Wednesday Facebook post, Palmer lamented about how her daughter's friends and family and other close families to her are the only ones that have supported Palmer since Taylor, a black 26-year-old emergency medical technician, was shot and killed in a police raid in March 2020. Quote, I have never personally dealt with BLM Louisville and personally have found them to be a fraud, Palmer wrote. Palmer also called Representative Atika Scott, a Kentucky House Democrat who has spearheaded efforts to try and ban no-knock warrants in a bill named for Taylor, another fraud. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear signed a less restrictive form of the bill this month, limiting the use of no-knock warrants rather than enacting an outright ban. Palmer dismissed talk of people saying they've raised money on behalf of her family or claiming they know her personally. Quote, I could walk in a room full of people who claim to be here for Breonna's family who don't even know who I am, Palmer said. I've watched y'all raise money on behalf of Breonna's family who has never done a damn thing for us, nor have we needed it or asked, so talk about fraud. It's amazing how many people have lost focus. I'm say this before I go. I'm so sick of y'all and I was last anybody who needs it. I guess she's trying to say blast or whatever. I don't know. But that is her statement. Okay. And when you see statements like that, right? And again, this is consistent, guys. This is not a one-time thing. This is something that is happening over time. These are families of people who've tragically lost loved ones. Okay. Who have come out and said, these people that come to this city and raise money off the names of my dead relatives don't even know who I am. They come here and they boohoo and they cry tears and they stir up anger and they stir up divide in this country, right? They push this race narrative with police and they raise all this money in capital, but yet they don't even know the family members of those whom they claim they're trying to fight for. They don't know. They don't even know the family members. They're not even trying to support the family members. The family members are the ones that really are hurting the most. Those are the ones that lost their loved ones. And these people, you know, that come into these cities, y'all know who they are. The Crumps of the world, the Tamika Mallorys. Okay. They getting paid. They getting paid. Doing Grammy speeches, Cadillac commercials. You know, buying houses. This is not a coincidence, right? This is not a one-off thing. This is not me doing reckless speculating. No, it's not. This is a pattern. I'm listening to the voices of the unheard, right? You know, the same people that these people claim to care about so much, I'm actually listening to them and they're telling me that something's not right. And like I said, I have no problem with how people get their money, right? I don't. But when you're talking about being in the business of a nonprofit trying to help people, right? There are nonprofit business owners that get rich too. I understand that. That doesn't bother me, right? I'm a hardcore capitalist. Make your money. But at the same time, you are running an organization and that organization has to be held accountable because you're supposed to be a servant for the public. In the same way, a for-profit organization, if they have a bad product, right? If a for-profit organization puts a product out there that's not good, they're going to be held accountable by the customers. The customer of the Black Lives Matter organization is supposed to be the communities that they say they're trying to help. And these communities are saying we're not getting help. We haven't seen anything. Where's the money? I mean, even the chapters. It's one thing if the chapters was getting the money and, you know, they was doing more grassroots stuff. They wasn't necessarily giving out money, but they was doing programs or whatever, right? I'll be like, okay, that's fine, right? Even if the chapters was getting money, I wouldn't be doing this. But when you got the parents complaining, you got the chapters complaining, you got the local communities complaining, and then you got all this other stuff going on too, obviously there's an issue. There's an issue. But, you know, it is what it is. I hope that, you know, this video doesn't get censored because, you know, I'm trying to hold an organization accountable, which it really is a damn shame that I even have to consider that, right? But it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.